So, as an adult, in my 20s, that's when I began to get abducted by the, reptilians. And, I just remember these instances where, I just end up in this bed lab type of, like, place. A hospital bed, like, in a lab looking type of place. And, to give more description of this room, it had, like, white walls. It would be, like, pretty bright inside. And the room was pretty medium large. Like, it pretty much was like a regular, like, maybe hospital kind of room, basically. But it had more high-tech things inside of there. Like, more technology and stuff like that. Yeah, like a lot of high-tech, maybe, like, metal stuff on the wall and things like that. Gadgets. And I remember getting a C-section a few times. Once again, when I'd be made pregnant, I had no idea that I was. Most of the time, I would be asleep, and I would be thinking that the dream that I had was a dream of having sex, but it really must have been happening, because somehow I'd end up pregnant, and then these labors would just start out of nowhere, like in the middle of the night, and the next thing I know, one of the aliens would come down. They'd have their gadget, like I mentioned, that rectangle gadget, which they use to transport you from where you are to the ship. A light flashes first, and then you will feel your body taken as you are going up into the ship. I specifically remember the C-section. They put this stuff in my arm, and I guess it was Pitocin or something, whatever starts a labor. They put me on this liquid. I was laying down, and then I remember, I just remember my stomach was hurting so bad. I remember, like, throwing up on the floor. I remember the nurse came and cleaned it up, and he was not human. He was an alien, and he cleaned it up, and I remember he looked at my feet and said, "Oh, wow, your feet look weird." Like, maybe he thought human feet looked kind of strange or something, but I remember after that, after I'd gotten the Pitocin or whatever, this doctor said, "I'm going to have to stick something inside to break the waters," and that scared the fuck out of me. I remember always being terrified. I could not move. I could not get out of this place, and yeah, the doctor ended up taking something like a stick and sticking it to break the waters. I mean, I was thankful it did not hurt as bad as I thought it would be, but I was freaked out and panicked. They would try to calm me down, but I could not calm down. Like, it was so uncomfortable and painful, and I was definitely afraid of being poked with the thing to break the waters. I remember after they broke the water, I remember the most painful pains I had ever felt in my stomach. I remember just crying, screaming. After that, I threw up again because I was in so much pain. And I remember every time I would try to leave, but the aliens, they had a power to where they can just look at you, and your body is heavy. You cannot move. Like, they can make it to where you cannot move at all. So I wouldn't be able to move, and I'd be in severe pain. I remember I was hungry and wanted food, but they said that I couldn't eat anything or have any food because they didn't have any, and in case if I needed a C-section. So they gave me ice chips to have, and yeah, that was definitely really a traumatizing situation. I just would always be in shock when I'd, in the middle of the night, be all of a sudden in, like, a doctor's office, a lab, and people all over me, testing me, and doing these different things, and going into labor. And I remember with this C-section also, I remember they had to ask if they could tie both of my arms down, and I freaked out. I'm like, no, like, just please let me have my arms out. And they let me have one arm free, and they had to tie it, and they had to do all the procedures of C-section. I just remember being terrified. I remember being awake, and they had to give me, like, a shot in my back that caused this really, really bad migraine headache. I guess the shot was to numb whichever or something, but it ended up giving me a headache. There was some kind of bad reaction, and yeah, I just remember it being terrifying. It was very scary. I just couldn't even believe what was happening, and there was no way that I could fight this, no way that I could talk to anybody or tell anybody what was going on. I couldn't call the police or call anybody for help. There was nothing I could do. So there was also at my old house I was living at, so this was specifically age 22. I remember sitting in my car one night, and it was at nighttime. I was in my car and I was about to go back inside the house. I remember this time I had an ovarian cyst, and I was having like these really bad sharp pains. I was waking up in the middle of the night throwing up because the pain was so sharp. I remember it broke down. This was when I had to quit college. I couldn't go to college anymore because of this. Was most likely related to what they were doing to me. It might have been an ectopic pregnancy, and my dreams were shattered. I could not go to college anymore because I was having all of these health complications from the things that they were doing to me that nobody had any idea of what was going on. So I was put on like pain medication for this ovarian cyst, and I eventually was able to get surgery or whichever. But I do remember one night, like, I went to my car because I went to smoke some weed. I had to have medical marijuana because the pain was so bad. I just had to. I had no choice. The pain was so bad. I was throwing up all the time. So next thing I know, on the side of me, this man comes. It's dark, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I look real quick, and I see it's a reptile. This person is about, I'd say, 6 feet or maybe 5'11", something like that. Yeah, 6 feet range. It's a man. He had like a brownish, goldish, greenish skin, scales. I was shocked. Next thing you know, right after that, the minute I saw him, that flash came from that rectangular thing I spoke about. The light came, boom, I'm right on the ship. I'm right on the ship, and I'm right in the bed. So I also at this time was on pain medication because I had to take pain medication for the cyst, and this reptile man said that he took me because I died, that's why he transported me, because I like died or something. But it didn't make sense because I was awake when he came to the door. So when he came to my car door. So yeah, I remember that next thing I know, I was going through another labor for some reason, and I don't know, maybe that's what the stomach pain was from. I don't know, so much stuff was going on. But I remember next thing I know, I'm on a bed and I'm going into like a labor, and I remember I felt angry and a lot of pain. I felt really angry. I was in severe pain. I remember this reptile was being very mean to me, and I remember him calling me names and being really mean to me, and he was a reptile. And I knew that this person was different than the aliens that were abducting me before. And I said, where are the people that were abducting me before? And he said, that was when the Greys were in control. They are no longer in control anymore. And the reptilians are in control of everything now. And he said that in a very, very angry type of tone. So the Greys were no longer in control. There were no longer I no longer saw gray aliens or anything. Other than, I think on the ship, they were like helping around, like helping and stuff. So I remember after that, I remember my baby was taken. I wanted to hold the baby when I just had this baby. He snatched the baby. I remember he took the baby into a back room, and he was very mean about not letting me see the baby or hold the baby. And then he took it into another room. I remember he seemed that something was wrong with the baby, but I remember he took it into a back room. But I don't know, like, if he did something to it, like snapped its neck or something like that. I'm not sure, but from what it seemed like, the baby had birth defects, and he was saying that it was most likely from the psychiatric medications that I was put on, like all these medications and stuff. And I know, like, the reptile was very, very upset about the baby dying, passing away, or having any kind of complications. Like, pretty much his goal was he really wanted a perfect baby, is what it seemed like. And this really upset him. So yeah, and then so that's what happened with that. And at the time I lived nearby a creek. It was like a creek kind of sewer type of thing. So I'm kind of thinking maybe that's where he came out of, and then I was like kind of near that. So my car was parked across that Bologna Creek thing. It was called Bologna Creek. So I'm thinking he might have came through there through some kind of sewer, came up and saw I was on the street and was able to quickly take me and do this. And yeah, so I remember after that, I eventually was able to get like the ovarian cyst removed. I'm not sure if that was a complication from all that, but it might have been from all the, pregnancy stuff going on. But yeah, I remember after that, like, that's when it started to really get bad during the deliveries and pregnancies, once the reptilians began to come and do these kinds of things. So yeah, I'm gonna finish up with this video is done, but I'm gonna go ahead and make some more videos. I still have many more experiences, so there's much more to come, and it does get crazier, so be prepared. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep on going through this, and I'm trying to share everything in order and the best I can, and everything that I have here is the best to my knowledge. From what I remember, I vividly do remember these memories, and I have a lot of information. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Remember, again, you can always email me. My email is alienabductionawareness@gmail.com if you have any questions or comments or want to share your story. Thank you so much.